Back in the year 2000, Microsoft was a giant. They made Windows, the most widely used operating system in the world. Office, an unbeatable productivity suite, and they were one of the most powerful tech companies on the planet. But then, things started to slip. Google overtook them in search. Apple crushed them in the smartphone space. Amazon raced ahead in cloud computing. By 2014, Microsoft was starting to feel like that old, out-of-touch uncle in the tech world, a once mighty empire, slowly falling behind in the race. The world began asking, is Microsoft heading toward collapse? In the 2000s, Microsoft kept failing, again and again. Internet Explorer, once the #1 browser, got beaten by Chrome. Windows Phone came too late, then died out. Tablets? Never really took off. Bing, even with tons of money poured in, couldn't beat Google search. Zune, meant to compete with the iPod, totally flopped. Meanwhile, Amazon launched AWS and led the cloud race. Apple dropped the iPhone and got the whole world hooked. Google launched Android and took over the global smartphone market. Microsoft falling further and further behind. The problem wasn't just outside, it ran deep inside the company. First, they missed the big trends. Microsoft failed to see how important mobile and cloud would become. Steve Ballmer, the CEO at the time, even laughed at the iPhone. $500 for a phone with no keyboard? There's no business opportunity there. Second, the company culture was broken. They used a system called stack ranking, where a fixed percentage of employees had to be labeled underperformers, no matter how well they did. This created brutal internal competition. Talented people were fighting each other instead of working together. Teams like Windows, Office, and Bing, totally disconnected. No collaboration. Third, they were too dependent on Windows. Microsoft put all its future bets on Windows, while the world was shifting toward mobile and cloud. By early 2014, Microsoft stood at a crossroads. Keep slowly fading away, or start over and come back stronger? In February 2014, Microsoft shocked everyone by naming Satya Nadella as CEO. He wasn't like Bill Gates, the eccentric genius, or Steve Ballmer, the fiery salesman. Satya was a software engineer who'd spent over 22 years at Microsoft, mostly working on servers and enterprise networks. But Satya understood Microsoft's core problems. He realized the biggest issue wasn't the products, it was the mindset. When asked about his vision, he said, Microsoft needs to rediscover its soul, which is to empower people and organizations. And that's when the real transformation began. Satya started by changing the way people think. He introduced the idea of a growth mindset, based on research by Carol Dweck, a psychology professor at Stanford. Instead of being a know-it-all, Microsoft needed to become a learn-it-all company. Some concrete moves he made. He scrapped stack ranking, creating a true team environment, built a one Microsoft culture, breaking down silos and pushing for collaboration, encouraged every employee to actually listen to real customer feedback. In his book, Hit Refresh, Satya wrote, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Technology comes and goes, but culture lasts." Satya redefined the company's entire strategy. He went all in on cloud, pouring tens of billions into Azure, turning it into AWS's #1 rival, and he opened up to competitors. Office started running on iOS and Android. SQL Server started working on Linux. Microsoft began partnering with Samsung and other rivals. In 2018, Microsoft bought GitHub, the world's biggest open-source platform, once considered the enemy. And Satya proudly said, Microsoft loves Linux, a massive shift in mindset. Microsoft wasn't just fixing the past, they started investing heavily in the future, especially AI. In 2016, they bought LinkedIn for $26.2 billion. Now, a huge source of revenue. They invested in OpenAI, $1 billion in 2019, then added $10 billion more in 2023. They brought GPT-4, DALL-E, and more into Microsoft products. They launched Copilot for Word, Excel, Teams, and developed their own AI chips, Maya and Cobalt, to reduce dependence on NVIDIA. Satya made it clear, AI doesn't replace people, it enhances them. Today, Microsoft is one of the top AI companies in the world. Microsoft's stock price went up 10 times in the 10 years since Satya became CEO. Azure is now the second largest cloud platform in the world. Office and Windows still dominate their markets. Teams beat out Slack to become the top business communication tool. Their product ecosystem is smooth, powerful, and innovative. And in January 2024, Microsoft became the most valuable company in the world, hitting $3 trillion, passing both Apple and Google. Their company culture is now ranked among the best places to work. They're attracting top talent from Google, Amazon, and beyond. A stunning comeback. Microsoft's journey proves one thing. Culture is the foundation of every transformation. You've got to admit mistakes and pivot fast. Collaboration beats rivalry. Always invest in the future, even when the results aren't clear yet. Staying humble and always learning is the real long-term strength. In a world that's changing every day, it's not the strongest that survive, it's the ones who adapt the fastest. So here's a question for you. How have you applied a growth mindset in your own work and life? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Capital Compass. We'll be back with more inspiring stories about leadership and business strategy. See you in the next one.